Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Today we are kicking off part 1 of a massive 10-part foundational series titled Machine Learning for IT Professionals. Now, this entire curriculum was developed by Virtualization Options LLC. They're a research, education, and advisory organization out of Colorado, and it is specifically designed to demystify machine learning for those of us actually working in IT infrastructure. We're not going to get bogged down in heavy math today. Instead, we are laying down the absolute crucial groundwork to help you understand, deploy, and confidently work alongside machine learning in your real-world environments. Okay, let's dive straight into our agenda for today. Consider this our syllabus. We'll start off with the machine learning shift, compare traditional rules versus ML, cover core algorithms, explore the power of data, look at ML in IT operations, and then finish up with your next steps. Moving right along to section 1, the machine learning shift, because spoiler alert, it is already here. Look at this statistic, 70%. The machine learning revolution isn't just some abstract futuristic concept looming out there on the horizon. It is actively happening in our server rooms, our cloud architectures, and our software stacks right now. 70% of enterprises are currently using ML-powered tools somewhere in their IT stack. Whether it's a smart monitoring dashboard or an automated ticketing system triaging incidents without any human input, this shift is an urgent reality. The question really isn't if you'll work with machine learning, it's how prepared you're going to be when you inevitably do. And because of this massive wave of adoption, IT professionals are seeing a really rapid evolution in our day-to-day responsibilities. We are no longer just passive consumers of these tools. Increasingly, you're expected to take true operational ownership. You'll be the ones asked to deploy, manage, and troubleshoot these ML systems. And let's be honest, you simply cannot troubleshoot a system effectively if you treat it like a magic black box. You need a solid foundational understanding of how it actually works. Which brings us to section 2, traditional rules versus ML. Time to peel back the onion on this paradigm shift. And this brilliantly illustrates that shift. To really grasp machine learning, we've got to contrast it with the traditional programming we all know intimately. Traditionally, a human developer sits down and manually encodes explicit logic. We write the rules, right? But those rules can be incredibly brittle. The second you hit some weird, unexpected edge case, the whole system breaks and it scales horribly as complexity ramps up. Machine learning completely flips the script. Instead of writing the rules, we feed the computer examples. The computer learns the rules from that data. It adapts to new inputs without being explicitly reprogrammed, and it scales naturally with volume. It is essentially automating pattern recognition at a massive scale. Now, within this new paradigm, there are 3 main ways a system actually learns, starting with supervised learning. This is where the model trains on labeled data. Basically, you're handing the computer an input paired directly with the correct answer, over and over again, until it learns the relationship. Because it relies on these very clear, definitive examples, this is by far the most common type of ML used in IT for tasks where we need to classify things into distinct buckets. Next up, we have unsupervised learning. This is where we take the training wheels off. The model is just given a massive pile of unlabeled data and tasked with finding the hidden structures or patterns completely on its own. For IT teams, this is absolute gold. It's exactly what you need when you're trying to detect bizarre network anomalies or segment users by behavior without having to set up predefined categories beforehand. And finally, there's reinforcement learning. Honestly, think of this like training a puppy. The system, or the agent, takes actions in an environment and learns through reward-based feedback. It optimizes its behavior over time to maximize the positive outcomes. And that pretty much completes our core ML glossary. Moving straight into section 3, core algorithms explained. Now, as an IT pro, you don't need to be building these from scratch, but you absolutely must know the vocabulary so you can speak confidently with your data science teams. Let's anchor these theories directly to our daily reality. If a data scientist tells you they're using a regression algorithm, they're predicting a continuous number. Think of forecasting server CPU loads, so your capacity planning is actually proactive. If they mention classification, they're sorting things into buckets, like filtering spam or flagging malicious network traffic in real time. And if they're using clustering, they are grouping similar items together, which is absolutely perfect for segmenting device failure profiles, so you can see which hardware models fail under similar conditions. Let's jump into section 4, the power of data. We all know the golden rule of computing, garbage in, garbage out, and man, is that true for ML. So the crucial point here is that the operational expertise you already possess is exactly what makes machine learning successful in your organization through a process called feature engineering. Sure, data scientists know the math, but you understand what a timestamp actually means in the context of your specific network. You know what a weird spike in disk I/O really signals, and you know which obscure log fields actually carry operational weight. To put that into perspective, think about this. A raw timestamp is literally just a string of numbers to an ML model, but you know the context of that time matters heavily. By transforming that raw timestamp into an engineered feature, like hour underscore of underscore day, or just a simple flag like is underscore weekend, you give the model the context it desperately needs. That one simple act of translation can literally mean the difference between an algorithm catching a critical anomaly or completely missing it. Which brings us to Section 5, ML and IT operations. Let's tie all of this directly into your daily workflow with AI Ops, applying artificial intelligence to IT operations. We are talking about tangible, immediate benefits here. We've got anomaly detection models that flag unusual I/O spikes before they cascade into outages. We have log analysis powered by natural language processing that can parse millions of lines of unstructured logs to surface a root cause in seconds. I mean, that's a task that used to require hours of bleary-eyed manual grep commands at 2 a.m. And of course, predictive maintenance that warns you a switch is dying before it actually drops packets. Let's see how this builds into a practical workflow. It's really just a simple 4-step process. First, define the problem and the data you have. Second, collect that data and clean it up. Third, choose your model. And hey, pro tip here, start simple. Interpretable models like decision trees are fast and surprisingly effective for IT data. Finally, step 4 is to train the model and evaluate its accuracy. As you start scaling these workflows up, you're going to encounter enterprise MLOps tools. You should definitely be familiar with names like MLflow for tracking your experiments, Kubeflow for Kubernetes native pipelines, AWS SageMaker, and Azure ML. What's really cool about these platforms is that they manage automated retraining pipelines and they monitor for data drift. Basically, they keep your models accurate in production without needing constant manual tweaking from your team. Okay, final section. Section 6, your next steps. We have covered a massive amount of ground today, but theory is kind of useless without action. So first things first, go explore the stack you already own. Tools you probably use every day like Dynatrace, Splunk, or Datadog. They likely have ML features hiding under the hood right now. Turn them on, see what they do. Second, take advantage of free foundation courses from Google, AWS, or Coursera. And third, please go collaborate with your data science teams. They desperately need your understanding of reliability and incident response to actually deploy their models successfully. You literally hold the missing puzzle piece. I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought from the curriculum. The best time to start building ML fluency is today. Every week you wait is a week of compounding advantage someone else is building. The shift has happened, guys. The tools are literally sitting in your stack. So what is the very first step you're going to take today to start managing them? Think on that, and I'll see you right back here for part 2 of this series, where we go even deeper. Thanks for joining me on this explainer.